All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this Town of Plainfield Board of Selectmen meeting to order on May 26, 2020 at 7 p.m. via Zoom. We'll call to order and do Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call.
Art Gagney.
Kevin Cunningham.
Ricky Hewitt,
And Kathy sent a message earlier saying she would not be able to attend. Item C, which is the approval of minutes from May 11th, 2020. If you have those and read through, entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Motion to accept. So moved. All right, and I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item D, which is public comment. Does anybody have any public comment on what we have here? Hearing none, we go into item E, new business. Item 1 on there is consider an act on the tax refunds as requested by the tax collector totaling $21.56 as follows. Sarah E. Hill, $21.56.
I'll make a motion that we approve the tax refund for $21.56
To Sarah Hill.
to Sarah Hill, E. Hill.
All right. Motion I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 2, a little bit of a read, but it's consider an act on reestablishing the appointed Building Code Board of Appeals. In review of the general state statutes, on page 11 of our town charter, it states that there's a Building Code Board of Appeals. We reviewed the state statutes, and that is actually a required board. I don't think we've ever used it, but it is supposed to be a rotating board. This is something where it's consisting of 5 members, each of whom shall be appointed to a 5-year term of 5 years. 1 member shall be appointed each year for a term of 5 years. Since we're starting it fresh, if you read through the description of each of those, of what they're supposed to be doing, there is Municipal Board of Appeals. And so what we've done is we've called around and asking if anybody was interested in doing this. And we did have 5 people who would be interested. So we can actually vote to have it reestablished, number 1. And then the next line item we can talk about is appointing those 5 members.
Okay. I only have a couple questions.
Okay.
On the first handout you gave us, I imagine it's the state statute.
Yep, section 29266.
Yeah. At the top, section A, says all of whom shall meet the qualifications set forth in the state building code.
Yes.
More, I'm asking about the people that are on the list, the 5 people. Do they all meet that qualification?
Yes, they do. All of got certifications, and that's why I asked Kyle to go through and verify with each person who they are and that they have qualifications.
Okay. And further down on section B at the end of it, it talks about a codes and standards committee. Is this something we don't need, or?
Yeah,
is
any
this
person
something
aggrieved by the decision
statewide?
of the panel. We usually would, I guess, they would, after that, they would go to the state, but I can verify that. Any person
Okay.
aggrieved by the decision of a panel may appeal to the Code and Standards Committee within 14 days after filing for decision with the building official. Any determination by the local panel will be subject to review, and that's again by the state.
Okay. I think the only other question I had was the other handout on the scope and administration. You had something highlighted on certificate of approval.
I think those are just talking about the different qualifications and when they eventually get to be chair. You're talking about section scope and administration R112.2?
110.9. You have
Oh,
highlighted
yeah.
As to what they would be responsible for, I guess.
Yes,
Okay, the fence is greater than 7 feet and all.
right.
Okay.
There are certain guidelines they have to follow.
I guess what I'm wondering about with that is because they're a Board of Appeals,
Mm-hmm.
are these like specific to what would be appealed, or are they gonna?
Yeah, there's codes they have to follow, and so then if they appeal them, saying that they don't agree with what they are,
Mhm.
they would actually meet with this board, and then if the individual or the company didn't like what they had said, they would actually be able to appeal to the state.
Okay, because these are all like small projects.
Right.
Yeah. So like if a hotel came in and they didn't like the ruling, they wanted to appeal, they wouldn't appeal to this
No,
board.
no, this is for, like it says here, like fences
It's
or,
smaller things. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Okay. That's the only questions I had about that.
in that case, do we entertain a motion to reestablish the Town of Plainfield Building Code Board of Appeals?
I'll make that motion.
And I will second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 3, consider an act on appointing up to 5 members of the Building Code Board of Appeals. Again, we had researched for the first wave of this, people going through. You see that there are 5 individuals who are listed. What I would do is this, seeing as though we're supposed to rotate them in and out on the 5-year rotation, I would ask that we appoint Rob Kerr for the 5-year, Paul Yellen for the 4-year, Ernie Colello for the 3, Scott Laporte for the 2, Dudley Young for the 1. That way we can start our rotation.
Okay.
I would entertain a motion to approve as read.
One question about it first, though.
Yep.
Are they all have different areas of expertise?
Yes.
Okay, it kind of looks at the only 2 I don't know is Scott Laporte and Dudley Young. Do you know what they?
Very specific ones, no. Becky, you
Is
might know each of these individuals more than I.
Is
Well,
Laporte?
I know Scott Laporte. He's Laporte and Sons. He does
Right.
plumbing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Dudley Young. I don't know
I think
anything about
he's
him.
engineering. He's had engineering expertise in the past, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, we try to get a broad spectrum of individuals. So, like here, you've got a former building inspector, you've got a fire marshal, a general contract.
Yep. Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint these 5 people as read. Rob Kerr being the 5-year, Paul Yellen 4, Ernie Colella 3, Scott Laporte 2, and Dudley Young 1 year, and then rotating after.
Motion's been made. I will second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So then there's a line item transfers. I think what you have in your packet talks about the line item transfers that we'd like to be able to propose to the Board of Finance. Let me just make sure we got the most recent. All right, so let me go back to the Zoom and share. All right, do you see that's up on the screen right now?
Yep.
All right, this is the most recent, most up-to-date one. We have also descriptions of why certain things were as they were. I know we've gone through them before. I can go through them very quickly, but Finance Department head, when we chose Kelly to come back in, I wanted to move quickly to go to the next person. So I'll be polite. I'll just say that we paid him out 2 weeks to move on. So that's why there's a difference there. The supplies, we talked about that at the last Board of Finance meeting as to the supplies. And there were some purchases that we were going to review with the Board of Finance on that, but there was $4,500 worth of purchases. Some of it was for training on Purcell for the software being used. Others were some questionable purchases. We're just going to look into them a little further. The audit is going to cost us a little more. That's why there's an adjustment there for $15,000. Tax collector and town clerk, there was adjustments because they weren't budgeted properly. I'll just shorten it up for you. It wasn't budgeted properly, so they're a little short. And we also had the issue where we had 2 town clerks running at the same time. So there was a little bit of over cost there. That's why the line item transfers are needed for those 2. Buildings and grounds and supplies, we've been doing a lot of COVID purchases, which we'll get some reimbursement for at the end. Under budgeted for electricity, under budgeted for heat. Building inspector, we talked about that before. There were 3 building inspectors, which we had to do because we have to have a certain level of expertise for a building inspector to be running under. So we needed that certificate. That's why we've had 3. That'll be going away soon once someone passes their other test, and we're good to go. There's the motor vehicle increase on gas for building inspector vehicle. Relocation, it's just a $1 off, so we're rounding that up. Refuse disposal, again, a little bit short. Contracted services for highway at the end. And then the next one up is the sick vacation payouts. That was when Kelly was let go. Everything was paid out. Now we're looking to recoup it because the previous acting finance director didn't calculate properly in that line item, so therefore it was a shortage. General insurance, workman comp, some of that can be related to the fact that there's more police road work, and you need to put money back into those line items because you're paying out. That'll be fair to say, Kelly? Yeah, I know I have to make you unmute, right?
Mhm.
All right, but that would be fair to say for those 2 line items. General insurance, workman comp, more road work, we got to pay into that. Computer salary, he is doing a lot of overtime because there's a lot of work being done right now. We're trying to catch up with what we have outstanding, and the same thing with computers. I'm trying to keep that line as close as lower than that is obviously, but we're working on trying to see what we have left. Some of that, by the way, will be reimbursable through FEMA for some of the purchases we're doing. Department of Health was pennies off, so we're rounding it to make sure it's okay. Same thing with Council of Governments and Emergency Management Services. Memorial Day, that's when I purchased more flags because we were short last year. I didn't want to be short again, so we made sure we got enough flags up. Some of the things that will help to cover it and the offsets are some of the salaries for tax salaries because she hasn't had a part-time person in there as much. There is a retirement anticipated that's why there's an additional line now for retirement payout. The lines you're going to see coming up at this point will all be the ones for savings, telephone, contingencies left over, sewer payoff, election workers. We haven't had elections, so it got pushed out. We have a little money left over there. Highway overtime because it's been a decent winter, so it helped out. We're not running the pool, so there's pool operation savings. Same thing for rec department, part-time salaries and supplies. At the highway department, savings on sand and gravel and bituminous, and a little bit in the finance board. Heart and hypertension, we anticipated a larger payout, but we actually made a savings on that, so we didn't have to do that full payout. There's a little bit left over in life insurance, and a little bit left over on unemployment, and we don't anticipate the full amount being used for the engineering firm. So that's why you'll see the 2 bottom lines there was 189, 553 for to transfer to cover the 189, 553. So what we have to do, Art, is we have to actually use this as our tool to forward over to the Board of Finance and let the Board of Finance then finally vote on it. So our job was to put this together. Kelly put it all together for us, making sure that we were all set. We anticipate that if we forward this over to the Board of Finance, that they will approve it, and then we should be balancing out for end of year, or very close to it.
Okay, so I just have 2 questions then, because the old one, there were 2 items on it that you took off. You know what I'm talking about, probably. 10-6386-52.
What was it?
Town hall repairs.
Yeah. Kevin, I have a new one. I have one in front of me is 200,552, not 189.
All right.
So-
So I don't have that one. It wasn't sent to me. So
Yeah. So the 200,000. So what he's looking at is town hall repairs went up because of
plexiglass.
the town hall repairs went up 11,000. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, for the plexiglass, I think.
Yes, exactly. So
Right.
I'm covering the 11,000 town hall repairs, reducing Northeast Transit by 11,000.
Right,
All
that's
right.
10-634548
Correct.
at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, correct.
So
Yep.
that's the correct amount.
Bear with
Yes,
me a
that's the
second.
correct amount.
In
Okay.
order to make this for the public, I want to make sure I put it up there online so we can all see it. If that's okay with you?
Mhm.
I still don't see that. I see mine is, when did you send that out?
Thursday, because I sent it to you and Becky.
And it was in my book
Yeah,
on
I
Thursday.
thought I put it in your book.
Yeah.
Because I did everybody's.
Oh, you know why? Because you printed it off instead of giving me a file.
An email?
Yeah. In other words, if you had given it to me in a file, I'd be able to open it up right here. And if I'm looking at
Nothing from me. Yeah. Nothing from me on Thursday then. Okay.
I think you just sent it to me, Kelly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kevin, do you want me to send it to you from my email?
yes, please.
Okay, hold on a second.
I'd prefer to make it so that the public can see it and that when we talk about it, it's, I don't want to vote on something and not have the right numbers. That's all. Are you accessing your email right now?
Yeah, that's where I am. Hold on one second. I'm just trying to find it.
Maybe type my name in. It might help you.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm not finding it, but I'm going. I know where I can find it. So,
Okay.
because I had sent it to Kathy, so I know I can.
Hey, Kevin, Sean's got his hand up.
Oh, bear with me. I was in my email waiting for that.
Yeah.
All right, Sean, what's up?
It's not pertaining to this topic, so I can wait.
Okay. Found it.
Okay.
Now I know why, because you sent it with another file and I wasn't. Okay. All right, so now I'm all set. Let's take a look at it online together. I will share. That should be, let me just make sure on the bottom. There we go, 200,
Yeah.
552.
Yes.
All right. So what were the two lines that you had different there?
Town hall repairs increase, and then take it out of the Northeast District.
Got it, 11,000 for the town hall repairs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It came directly out of the Northeast District. Okay, because we didn't
Correct.
expend those monies yet.
Right.
All right, so it would be 200,552.
Correct.
Thank you for waiting. I just wanted to make sure that the public has access to the correct information, so that helps.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. I thought I put the right one in your book.
Nope, it's okay. So, all right, those are the two questions you had, basically what the two line items were.
That was it.
So the anticipation is if we approve this tonight, then it'll go to the Board of Finance for their final approval. And I'll be on that meeting with them to answer questions if they have any.
And so I'll make a motion to, send this line item transfers to the Board of Finance.
As listed with 200,552.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, so the motion was to forward this to the Board of Finance for their approval of 200,552 for line item transfers. You made the motion, I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye. All right, I have two little things I wanted to add in, two other things I wanted to add in. I would entertain a motion at this time to add item 5 onto the Board of Selectmen May 26th agenda to discuss and act upon bypass of procurement policy to add tempered glass sneeze guards from Danielson Glass The town hall departments for $11,800. We anticipate they're being reimbursed 75% of that purchase as part of FEMA monies due to COVID-19. So I'm looking for to entertain a motion to add item 5 onto the Board of Selectmen meeting or bypassing the procurement policy to purchase tempered glass.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
One more. I'll entertain a motion to add item 6 onto the agenda for Charter Revision Commission discussion.
I'll make that motion also.
And I'll
Add
second.
item 6.
Item 6, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so as part of this whole process, we're worried about making sure that we do the right thing. And one of the things is there is a procurement policy. The procurement policy talks about how anything over $7,500 requires authorized purchase order and shall be purchased through a competitive sealed bid. The issue that we're dealing with is there's a proposal and very hard to find people that would actually work with this and get it in a timely fashion. So there's a lot of factors. I wanted to just make sure that you understood. Kyle had gone out, looked at a couple places. I searched for a few places myself. What we found was the quality. The quality was very, very different. You would find a sneeze guard in different formats or a plexiglass would be very, very thin, and you basically could move it with your hand very quickly, move it off to the side. It would be built so that it has the rounded slide-in sections, 2 ends, and it is very easy to move. Anybody can knock it over very quickly. That was still expensive and still trying to find people that would have that plexiglass half moon style available. And then there's this option, which was from Danielson Glass. The proposals were for $11,800, which they will furnish and install. And these are all clear, glass clear tempered. They have notches in there so you can actually put paperwork underneath. And again, it would be a request that I would put in asking for, number 1, the purchase of this, but number 2, would be talking about how you would see that there could be a 75% reimbursement because this is directly related to COVID-19. If you notice, what you just passed forward was $11,000 for the town hall repairs. It's in there already, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody's understanding that what we're trying to do is, I don't want to do anything that we're not supposed to. So there is a purchase, a reason for purchase, number 1, but there's also a process by which we're supposed to follow for procurement for $7,500 or more. I'm asking that the Board of Selectmen waive that procurement policy for that purchase.
Do you need a motion for that?
I would need a motion to have the Board of Selectmen waive the procurement policy for the town of Plainfield for the purchase of said sneeze guards.
I'll make that motion.
I can second.
Wait the okay.
I can second that. And then
Okay.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we can move on to the final thing on the agenda that I would have for tonight. We'll talk about the Charter Revision Commission. Their time is really too limited. I'll just be very, very upfront. We would prefer to see people to be able to come into the building, to be able to talk about what's on the table. These are very important issues, very important. And I don't want to shortchange the commission's opportunity to do the right thing here, and having it on an electronic meeting like this, you're not getting a lot of people. I mean, I know Sean comes in, and there are a couple other people, but as far as the Charter Revision Commission, haven't had anybody. So, and there's been, no one even calling about it, asking questions, nothing. So I would actually look to do this the right way by discussing this possibility of disbanding for now and then reestablishing later on in either the fall or early part of the winter. And we have a good base of what the questions are, what the items are, which is, it probably would be best to have faces in the town hall to be able to ask the questions versus waiting for and hoping that they're going to actually go online to get that information. Or if you wanted to add anything to that?
Well, it's not just that. I don't think they're far enough along even, because you say the questions are there, but there's not even, to my knowledge, there were 2 meetings, so there's not even a draft of which questions they wanted on the ballot. And the final draft, the final first draft is supposed to go to the town clerk like within a week or 2. So time-wise, I don't think it's feasible.
Don't forget, does Board of Selectmen have to have 2 public hearings on it?
Right.
And then we'd have to be able to get to narrow it down. This will be an election year coming up, and the election year, you usually have less space. We anticipated maybe 10 questions on there.
Yeah.
So just my opinion, I think that it might be best if we just disband for now.
Yeah.
Start one back up again later on and be able to have public input, real public input, by allowing them to come in.
So I'll make a motion that we disband the Charter Revision Commission at this time.
Motion's been made. I'll second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, and one more thing, which is we have no correspondence, but we have other, and I know, Sean, you have your hand up.
Yes, my concern is with the building official oversight committee, whatever it was called.
Yes.
You have several contractors listed on there that do a lot of work in town.
Mhm.
I assume, or I hope, that they're willing to remove themselves during conflict issues, because it's going to be a conflict of interest, major conflict of interest. You have one on there that does a lot of major housing developments in town.
I think
It just doesn't seem like it doesn't seem right to have some of the names that are on there.
and it is true that we have a lot of the people like that are on there that have expertise in that field. The question would be, what are the areas that you would be concerned with for conflict? I mean, these are town buildings. Would you say that if a plumber went into a building and saw that there was multiple issues with the plumbing, would the town then be looking to put that out to bid anyway?
No. The committee you formed tonight was an oversight committee, correct, for the building official?
No, this is
It's an appeals
Board of
committee.
Appeals.
Board of Appeals for the building officials, correct?
Building code.
Building codes.
If
Which
somebody,
would be the building officials. So that's your oversight committee, is contractors in town, which I agree with, but ones that are major contractors in town seems a little bit fishy.
and Sean, I would agree with you that I think any board or commission, if there's a conflict, they should recuse themselves.
And yes, because the one I'm thinking of will have conflict. There's a lot of investors he does work with in town.
Mhm.
So I see it being a big red flag for a major conflict of interest.
Sean, I'm not sure what that noise is in the background, but it's very hard to hear what you're saying.
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we were aiming to get some people who were retired, who are not currently in the business. I know Kyle was trying to reach out to as many people as possible. So if you wanted to talk to me about that other individual offline so I can get more detail, I'd appreciate it.
Well, I think we all know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
I mean, you got the fox guarding the hen house.
Understood. Let me, let's see if we can find us another person then, and I'll talk to that individual.
It just seems like there's going to be a lot of conflict possibly with that individual. That's my only concern.
Understood.
It is what it is. That's what you guys have chosen to do that, and that's the way it goes.
No.
But I think could possibly pose a problem in the future.
All right. That's a good point, and well taken. So I'm going to reach out to see if we can find other individuals who might be willing to serve. It's not going to hurt to have other names on here.
You're gonna need them if you're gonna rotate anyway.
Right.
I mean, it was very nice to have the varieties. You had a very good mix of different assets, skills, traits.
Yep.
So the mix was great. It just seems like there's a possible red flag right there.
Hey, Sean, can I ask you, what would you consider a conflict with this person sitting on a board of appeals?
He's a major builder in town with two construction projects going, correct? Two housing development complexes, or maybe he's completed one. He's got a big operations in town with excavation. It just
I understand who he is and what he does. What would you consider a conflict by him sitting on this board of appeals?
anytime one of his projects was to come up, or one of his business partners, and he has a lot of business partners from time to time in town.
At that time, he would have to recuse himself from any voting, I would imagine.
Well, it's all well and good. We can say that. We just have to make sure it's done. If that's the case.
It's a public meeting.
And just so I can add my info into that one, when I was on the Board of Education, my wife was a para. Anytime discussion on para items came up, I had to immediately say I have to recuse myself from discussion, and of course not vote on any of those items.
Other board members do that as well if they have a personal connection.
I think actually on planning and zoning, there's one person who usually has to recuse himself.
I'll probably end up doing it eventually. I work for contractors in town.
Oh, I understand, and I work from time to time on stuff, but not too often in town.
Okay, point taken, and we'll look into it.
I just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
And I also want to say that I think at this point, the charter revision is a good idea to fold that at this time. I agree with that option.
Thank you. All right, anything else? Any other? And there was,
Yeah, I'd like to say, yeah, if I could.
yes.
Yes, June here. I agree completely with disbanding the charter revision. I don't think it's fair to put this out on the ballot this year because there's too much going on. We don't know how we're going to vote. There's a lot of conflict this year, and I think it's just not fair to the voters to put charter revisions in the ballot this year.
Yep.
So I just wanted to add that to it.
Yep. I mean, we used to get a lot of people that actually came to the meetings and actually had input. And I would like,
Right.
again, when we get past this issue with COVID and being able to open up the town hall and have meetings here again. And I think that was
Yes.
pretty much the best way you can actually have feedback from the residents. So,
Right.
all right. Any other comments? Hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we will now adjourn this meeting and go right into the Water Pollution Control Authority regular meeting. Thank you. Good. All right, I'd like to say that the Town of Plainfield Water Pollution Control Authority regular meeting, Jennifer, May 26th, immediately following the Board of Select meeting, is now called to order. They do a roll call.
Art Gagney.
Kevin Cunningham.
Becky Hewitt.
And if you take a look at item C, which is the approval of the May 11th minutes.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for May 11th, 2020.
And I'll second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comment? And we'll move into new business. To discuss and act on approving the budget and setting the sewer rate for fiscal year 2021. You'll notice that it is a two-part thing because we are increasing both. So we have to set the budget, and at this point, the budget would be $2,422,872. And that would put the sewer use rate at $412 per use.
So you want two motions?
Oh, I think that one motion in the middle would be fine, and I'll say it like this. All you have to do is just follow it up. I'd entertain a motion at this time to approve the budget for Water Pollution Control Authority for fiscal year 2020-2021 at $2,422,872, which will set the sewer use rate at $412.
I'll make that motion.
I will second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that is all there is to that. Let me just double check what we have to finish off with. And we have no other at this point. And entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that's it for tonight. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your night.
See
Thank
ya.
you.
Thanks, Jim.